Good evening everyone, and welcome into this video where we're going to teach you how to build a DPS based barbarian. The whole concept here is to make that meaty bag of wonderfulness that will just charge into the fray and hit enemy as hard as he can with different kind of weapons so that you can profit of a few of those different battle maneuver that got added into the mastery of each weapon in the new version of 5th edition. So everything here that you're going to have in that build is one D&D legal, so like D&D 2024 edition legal, and it's only based on like whatever we have access to at the moment. So some option will come up in the future that will make this definitely a little bit better, but as it is, you can go with this in your one D&D campaign and feel free to be like, I know this is going to be all legal. We're not adding any special item, magic item, anything. We're just keeping it as bread and butter as it is, and if you get some like extra from your DM, that's just a plus for you. Also, we put those build up to level 12 because after level 12, I've learned that the D&D experience becomes a whole other thing. And I wanted to be able to, keep it to where we can usually be able to reach in most of our games. So here's how the build goes. You put 12 level into Barbarian. This is a pure build, and you're going to go Path of the Berzerker for this one because the goal is to hit as hard and to be the most like pure based DPS normal barbarian you can be. I mean, normal might not sound like the greatest thing, but when people hear barbarian, they hear like big stick, big guy hitting hard. So Path of the Berzerker is the way we wanted to go. Also, the new edition added some stuff to that build that makes it a little bit less impervious to mind control spells and the likes. So yeah, the weaknesses of barbarian are a little bit more covered by this thing. So we have as a primary ability strength. It's going to have a bunch of effect on a lot of our things. In between others are strength attacks, so we will put a bunch of points in strength. We will probably have something like 14 in dex because that's the best number to go with an half plate. We have the highest dice per level that we can have. All the other classes are like either D10 or under. We have saving throw proficiency in strength and constitution. We had to choose 2 skills, but we're going to go with perception and athletics because they are the most, I would say, utilizable, like things that you can actually put into most scenario that you're going to have to face as a barbarian. So you go for this and you hope that the rest of your group is covering somewhere and that you have either a bard or a rogue to be the face of your group, because that's not going to be your big thing. You have access to all simple and martial weapon, light and medium armor, and that is important because we're going to be wielding in a half plate in our best case scenario here, optimizing the +2 that we get in dex. And starting equipment, we will not take care of that. We will instead take just the weapon that we need to make that thing work. And for the rest, if you still have some resources afterward, do whatever you want with them. Like, you want caltrop, get caltrop. Do find something though that can make your bonus action a little bit more utilizable, like usable. That will be definitely something that will help you through this thing. At level 1, you get rage. That will add you some bonus damage when you are raging. So rage damage will go up as you go up in level. You have advantage on your strength check and also on your strength saving throw while you are raging. You have no concentration or spell, but like, it's not a problem. You're a pure barbarian here. And you get the resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, which, as long as you are in the low level, is probably one of the things that adds the most pulse HP atop your basic HP. The duration will last for up to 10 minutes, as long as you have a reason to, you either take your bonus action to extend your rage, you take a hit, you hit an enemy, stuff like that will make you keep your rage. So now, instead of like the old rage, you can be raging for up to 10 minutes without having to hit a rat every round. On armor defense, even though it's something that is usually nice, is not going to be a thing that we're going to be using much, because to be able to get that to be better than your half plate +2 dexterity, you're going to have like a dex-based barbarian with a lot of constitution. It's not a thing that we are that interested by. It's a nice add-on, like if some situation makes it so that your armor is not the greatest thing to have on you, you will only lose 2 AC, but not the approach we take. We're going to take a great club at first for the push effect. being able to push back your enemy by 10 foot will be very much paying. You could try to abuse that if you go at level 1 and take Magic Initiate as a feat. You could try to just like pick yourself a good what's the name of the spell? Booming Blade. But we will not go that way. We're pure barbarian here. We're pure violence. We go for that. Great axe for the cleave. When you have the opportunity to last hit an enemy and then to hit a second one, like that's working your way. We have Danger Sense, which will give us an advantage on dexterity saving throw unless we are incapacitated. It might seem like nothing, but it basically means that we have a false +5 on your roll on dex save to avoid damage from things like fireballs. Reckless Attack will let you go and re-roll your roll when you do an attack, but when you do that, you give advantage also to the enemy attacks that are going to be made against you for the next round. So, yeah, but you balance it out by like going all in. Since you're raging anyway most of the time when you're going to do your reckless attack, you're also reducing by half the damage you're going to take, so it's not so bad. A thing to recommend though, if at some point your DM feels like he wants to drop in somewhere and Adamantine Half-Plate, it's going to make the reckless attack a little less of an issue because you will not provide critical hit when you're getting attacked by those advantage that you give to your enemy. As a barbarian subclass, we take Path of the Berzerker. And when you go and write, like, watch what everything that this thing gives you, it's strongly into hitting harder and resisting the mind control spells. So it's not a bad thing to take if your goal is basically to hit as hard as you can and as often as you can. You get survival as your primal knowledge. I went for this just because we already had acrobatics and athletics and what's the other one? Perception. If you would like, stealth might be a thing that might be interesting to get, but in your background ability. Now, we have Frenzy. Frenzy, if you use your reckless attack while your rage is active, you will deal extra damage to the first target you hit. Your turn with a strain base attack. To determine the extra damage, you roll a number of d6 equal to your rage damage bonus. So you hit hard. That's basically what this thing says. This thing says we have given you a false backstab. You're raging, you do reckless attack, you hit like a freaking truck, and this is the bread and butter of your build. When you hit level 3, you're gonna start hitting by, I think it's 2d6 extra, later 3d6 extra. It's a very solid thing if your goal is just to maximize your damage. You will take afterward a trident. The goal of your trident is basically to give you an option when you have to hit an enemy from a farther distance. It's gonna topple the enemy, giving advantage to your ally when they are gonna get in range to him. And also, if you are at level 5 at some point, which should be the case next, you'll be able to throw a trident, topple your enemy, charge through him, and rage and hit with your like other melee weapon, giving yourself advantage without having to do your reckless attack that you will still want to do because you're a berserker. So there's that. Ability score improvement, we're going to take Great Weapon Master. It's basically going to give you the opportunity to hit a little harder based on your proficiency bonus. And now you do not have anymore the option of like -5 for +10 damage, though it gives you a weird sub mechanic of cleave where even if you're trying to push your enemy, if you do a crit, you can make an extra attack with the same weapon as a bonus action. If an enemy is close to you, that is like, if you do a crit and the thing is not dead, you can hit on it again. And if there is a second enemy close to you, which is kind of your goal as a barbarian, to have like as much of the aggro on your ass as possible, though Path of the Berzerker is definitely not the best path to do that, but here we go. You can hit a second target on the side. So Great Weapon Master is definitely a good pick here. And if you reduce an enemy to 0 hit point and there's a second target, you can also do that thing. That thing here might look like nothing, but it's gonna add at level 4 a +2 to your damage. At level 5 a +3. At level 10, I believe, a +4. Like, this is gonna scale with you. Basically, in the old version of Great Weapon Master, you were losing 25% chance to touch the enemy because like it was a -5 to your hit to hit for +10, which was giving you like 1 time out of 4 you would miss, in exchange of which you would hit harder. Now it's been replaced with you always hit harder when you hit and you do not have that -25%. I think starting at level 5, these two balance out on each other. At level 9 or 10, like when you get your +3 in proficiency, 9, that is just like going in to your advantage in comparison to the old version. So personally, I'm a fan of the new Great Weapon Master because it also comes with that +1 in strength, which I know I said +2, +3, but like if you had your odd number in strength, that means it's +3, +4, +5, and it goes like this as you progress through the level. Great Weapon Master, I love what they've done with it. That +1 in strength will give you +5% chance of touching in comparison to the old Great Weapon Master. I know a lot of like people are complaining about this, but that's probably a good upgrade according to my own taste. You can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action on your turn. Starting at level 5, you get to like hit the enemy twice as much. And I don't think the U thing here, it is not limited to once per turn. So technically, if you do 2 crit because you're in your frenzy and you like roll 2 dice at a time, it is because you go for your reckless attack. You will crit more often. You will roll an average of at least 4 dice a round, which means once every 5 rounds you do a crit, you hit like a freaking truck. You have your extra attack, therefore you roll 2 more dices to see if you hit. This is like rolling and rolling and rolling better and better as you get extra attacks. Mindless Rage. You have immunity to the charmed and frightened condition. So basically when you charge in front of a dragon, if you are raging, you don't care. If something tries to like convince you to go and attack your friend, you don't care. If you are charmed or frightened when you enter your rage, that ends as well. So like you can pop your bonus action to be no and get back into the fray. I love it. I feel like it could give you for some good storytelling element or like fighting telling element that might be interesting to put into a fight. So promising. Also, it kind of gives a reason for the DM to waste a spell on you just so that you feel good about being a barbarian and a frenzy barbarian. Your instincts are so owned that you have advantage on initiative roll. This is something that every barbarian gets at level 7. It's great, and if at some point you want to pick alert as an ability score improvement, that will be very paying for, let's say, your mage or your sorcerer that can double cast ace on you and one of your friends, you know? Ability score improvement here. We're going to take Mage Slayer. The goal is going to be to make sure that the guy that tries to cast at the end of the battleground or like the weakling of the enemy is getting crushed very fast. They're going to have a disadvantage when they're going to roll for their concentration against you. And also, if you fail an intelligence, wisdom, or charisma saving throw, you can succeed instead. This is a second thing to help you with the mindless rage kind of thing. If an enemy decides to go for something that would affect your charisma roll, and you're like, oh, that would fudge up our situation here and prevent me from casting or to hit on the next round, we're talking that maze spell that like make your character stuck into that feeling that he's stuck in a maze while he is in the battleground. You can just say, nope, did not happen. I can still hit you as hard as I want. Though, so it only is once every short or long rest, but honestly, that extra feature after Mindless Rage makes it so that your mind is basically impervious as long as you are raging. And for the Mage Slayer one, it does not require you to be in rage. Like you can do that even when you're not. Just making sure that you get your +1 in strength as well, which, you know, I love the fact that they added that to all of the feats, when not all, but like most of the feat that got revised into the new edition. You get 2 options here: Forceful Blow with Brutal Strike that will push your enemy 15 feet away from you. That is good, but yeah, that is good. I would probably go for Forceful Blow on most situation instead of Hamstring Blow. Hamstring is only if like that would push the enemy in the direction of your ally that is squishy. Most of the time, keeping an enemy far away from you is then probably the best option. You can then move to half your speed straight toward the target without provoking opportunity attacks. This is basically giving you also an option to go further, closer to the caster in the back of the map if you do a forceful blow against an enemy that is too close to you, up to your own taste. Weapon mastery. You get greatsword. Also, like, we took great axe at the start. If you feel like taking greatsword because you'd rather roll 2d6 instead of 1d12, that's not a bad plan. If you have savage attacker, that's even something that is to be taken into consideration here. A retaliation. When I take damage from a creature from 5 feet of the character, you get a reaction to make 1 melee attack against that creature. You do not need a thing to trigger you more reaction than being attacked, which, you know, Barbarian, you're in the middle of the melee. That is definitely what you're looking for. That is the kind of thing that you expect to have on a Berzerker. And also, the good thing that comes with that is that since you are raging at that point, you take half damage from the normal parts of the damage that your enemy does to you. So retaliation is definitely going well with the Berzerker's whole feeling, you know? Your rage can keep you fighting despite your grievous wound. Starting at level 11, you roll a DC 10 Constitution saving throw the first time you drop to 0 HP and gain twice your Barbarian level in HP. This basically means that you do not drop to 0. You go back to 22. The next time it's DC 15. But honestly, a DC 10 on a character that will have like +5 or +6 at that point, have 80% chance of just holding on to the battlefield for 1 more round or 2 more rounds sometime, because those 22 HP might carry you for 1 more if you are still raging. Also, we finally have our last thing. We picked Charger. Here, if you want to go for something else, there's a good argument to be done. We will pick our strength score. And Charger gives +1 in strength. It gives you the ability to add some damage when you do charge into the melee. So if you have a 10 feet distance in between you and your target, you had 1d8 bonus damage to this attack, and you push a target, or you push a target up to 10 feet away. So there's no reason for this not to stack with Brutal Strike. There's no reason for this not to stack with the push of your Great Club. All of these things can like own it together and push an enemy up to 35 feet away. And yeah, that is setting you up to redo another charge. It also gives you that Brutal Strike option where you can still charge up to half your speed straight toward the target. At that point, if the enemy is pushed like by 25 feet, I think you can catch up to 20 feet to him, giving you a little bit more of field advantage. We took Soldier because we wanted to have Savage Attacker, making you able to re-roll your weapon's damage twice and use the biggest of the 2 rolls. So at that point, you're rolling like 1d12 plus 3d6 plus 1d8 if you did your charge. All of that together should give you we have like, let's say 7 plus 10.5, 18 plus 4, 22 plus your bonus damage that you get from the Reckless Attack and the Great Weapon Master, plus your bonus in Strength. It's like 5, 7. You're getting an average of above 30 damage around, and you get to roll your damage twice. So like your real average is probably going to be more in the 2/3 of this. We're talking about like 37 to 40 damage around. It's very, very good, and you're not critting on that. You're just doing your damage the best you can, you know? So, the ability score, we're going to take 2 in strength, 1 in constitution. We take whatever we want here. I went acrobatic because you're going to have a decent skill in dexterity, but if you want something else that could be interesting because of the rage bonuses that you get, stealth could be a good pick here as well. I didn't want to imagine him in stealthy for now. We went for an orc. The orc gets an adrenaline rush. So when you take the dash action we can take the dash action as a bonus action. It makes you something to do with your bonus action. And when you do, you gain a number of temporary hit points equal to your proficiency bonus. That is not much, but that is a +3 that is like possibly doubled by the fact that you are raging. So it's worth it. And you can use that equal to your proficiency bonus. You regain them when you have a short or long rest. First round, you're raging anyway with your bonus action, but starting at the next round, it's not every round that you're going to have something to do with your bonus action. So that is basically giving you a little option that you can go and use for this. We bought 15 in strength, 14 in dex, 15 in constitution. If you take all the feat bonuses that we get and 10 in wisdom, because like he's gonna be dumb, he's gonna be ugly, we don't care. And we're gonna have a total of 20 in strength and 16 in constitution. The +2 in dexterity is gonna become clutch when we're gonna want to wear that half plate to give us an AC of 17 later. Those are all the weapons that we might be able to use. Javelin is not a mastery thing, but you know, it's nice to have a thing once your trident is gone from your hand. And this is so vanilla that anything your DM gives you to make you better is just an improvement on it. When you view the character sheet, you get a good amount of 125 HP. It's a little less than the 2 other Barbarian that we showcased on the channel here, but it's normal. We like traded that for a little bit more violence by having Savage Attacker instead of Thoth that the Farmer background gave us. Here, if you do the right kind of attack for you, you do like your charge attack plus brutal strike plus great axe plus your the extra damage that you get when you do a reckless attack, your 3d6 at that point, you're gonna hit like a freaking truck most round, and this is without accounting for your crits. So overall, this build is just about you being a meaty bag of HP, raging and being upfront on the battlefield. You don't want to control the battlefield. You want to get the dangerous but weaker, like squishier enemy that is in the background down as fast as you can. You also get a 40 feet walking speed, which means that if they do save everything else but the brutal strike and they're getting pushed by 15 feet, you can catch up with them without triggering any attack of opportunity charging through phrase. So when the DM like puts a bunch of small unit that are supposed to protect that weak cast but strong unit in that squishy but strong unit that is in the back, you can push one of the small ones in the group of the other small one and charge through it to be able to catch up to your enemy. So that is interesting. I feel like this is a build that could definitely be senseful. We decided also not to put point and strength in stealth here, because with the half plate you would have a disadvantage on it. But out of this, honestly, here's your build. The link will be somewhere in the doobly-doo on YouTube if you do want to catch it and build whatever that meaty bag of Barbarian can be. If you want to redo it also on Beyond, well, you now have the recipe and you can follow up with the levels as we went to be able to just be at the best as that you can be at every level through the progression. If you are not yet following this channel, or like subscribe to this channel, please think about doing it. That would support the channel a ton. If the video was any useful for you, please like the video. I should have asked for that like a while ago, but I'm definitely doing that wrong, you know. So on that, thanks a ton for everybody that showed up and watched our eye damage Barbarian, the DPS of your group that you wanted to build, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Ciao.
When darkness falls and shadows grow, we find we are triumphant, don't you know? Because in force and fury, we're